go.
I questioned why the fist. I didn't know if that was some type of
it just
innuendo as to the antics of Pride Month.
No, it
It's
just was
celebrators.
rainbow.
It's communism. It's always communism.
It's always Pride Month is communism.
Yes, it is. Communism.
Wait, fisting or Pride?
Oh my god.
Oh, wow, Shane. Okay, I wasn't
Right at
expecting
it.
that from Shane.
All right.
Normally, Brandon's the pervert on the show, but today, Shane, he unbuttoned that top button. He's letting loose. The reason that we're discussing Pride Month madness, a ridiculous statement came out the other day. This is from the Daily Mail. Here's the news article. Top cancer charity apologizes for using the word cervix instead of trans-friendly term front hole. This is June 9th out of the Daily Mail. A top cancer charity has apologized for using the word cervix. The Canadian Cancer Society has apologized for using the term while encouraging people to get checked for cervical cancer. So because the term cervix is not trans-friendly, even though they are talking about a medical term, they're encouraging people to get checked for cervical cancer. You're not supposed to use the word cervix because non-binary people and men who aren't born with cervixes but identify as women feel ostracized and left out.
So is the new term front hole cancer?
I don't know. That's a good question. I have to find out. I didn't even look into that. I was too distracted with the term front hole because that is Kelly, you're a lady. How dare me assume your gender. Kelly, were you born biologically a woman, and do you identify as one?
I am a woman.
Okay. Do you find the term cervix or front hole more offensive to you?
Front hole.
It sounds gross.
I am the only person in this room that has a cervix. Just to be clear.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, the production team are all, I would assume we're all biologically born men, correct?
Yes.
Yes, we are.
Shane?
Yes,
You
correct.
The
hesitated.
entire team
You just
is
didn't come to me.
biological
What are
men.
you, were you born Chantel and you transitioned to
No,
Shane?
I have
that beard.
no front hole.
There's no amount of hormones that can make that beard. Is that what you're saying?
Oh. Not that I know.
So
And front hole is so generalized. Like, there's plenty of holes in the front of your body.
You have your front hole, back hole, and top hole.
Oh, look at wow, Berto has really broken it down.
Hey, he's tuned in.
Yeah, I've been mad about this story since it was 2 days ago that you told me about it.
Yeah.
And I was mad about it, but then I was like, okay, let's use this to my advantage. And I tried to peddle the whole front hole, back hole terminology, and it didn't stick.
No, it sounds offensive. If I went to
It
my wife
does.
and I'm like, hey, hon, let's get wild, drink some wine, let me play with your front hole. I don't get to see that as it is now, and I'm not calling it that, so I'm definitely not going to refer to it as that. So here is the apology. They posted the apology in their Words Matter section.
No.
When they fired up CERN, are we in a parallel universe? Because
I
it's
believe
shit
so.
like this that makes me go, the world has lost their minds.
Yeah.
In the Words Matter section, the nonprofit stated, we recognize that many trans men and non-binary people may have mixed feelings about or feel distracted from words like cervix. I'm sorry, distance from words like cervix. You may prefer other words such as front hole. The Canadian charity stated, we recognize the limitations of the words we've used while also acknowledging the need for simplicity. Another reason we use words like cervix is to normalize a reality that men can have these body parts too.
How?
They can't, right? It's part of the female. So I had to start researching cervix because I got to be honest. I got 2 kids, 3, but I don't know what a cervix is. I've watched all 3 of them be born, and I've never paid attention to the actual female anatomy. Is that like, okay, Kelly? I understand. You're a lady, but did you guys know what a cervix is and what they're designed for and why they even
Only the bare
exist?
essentials.
Only the bare essentials.
Yeah.
I don't know. I eat in that restaurant.
You're married
I don't
too.
want to know too much.
You eat in the so it's
yeah.
like when you go out to eat at a restaurant, you
Yeah,
don't want to
I
see
don't wanna know
how
what-
they make
I don't
the
want
food.
I don't want to know
Exactly.
what's in the kitchen.
Yeah.
I'm a prime customer, so let's leave it there. I don't want to know anything, but I don't know.
I know you know everything because you do.
I know. Yeah, I know the word, but it's not something you really like focus on. Like, it's not like one of the fun words.
No, because I feel like guys are so much easier to understand. We have testicles, we have the
Yeah.
penis, and then the sack, and that's it. I mean, and prostate. But really, that's our entire. I mean, the prostate's not part of the reproductive system unless you're celebrating Pride Month. Then it is.
Ours are all on the outside, so it seems like it's easier to understand. Whereas
Maybe
theirs is
that's
all
it. They,
kind of behind.
they hide theirs,
Yeah.
like everything. Because my wife will always go, I'll come home and I'll be like, oh, how was your day? And she'll go, fine. And I go, well, I know that means that her day was fine. But she hides the real information.
So much more to it.
So yeah, exactly. That's basically the vagina.
And
it's what we're learning as well. So I actually had to learn what the cervix was because I wanted to understand: can trans women, men, or women who were born men and have transitioned into men, can they even have a cervix? Could we bring up the yes?
Wait, you mean the other way around?
Well, no. If they're born a man and they transition to a woman, can they have a cervix?
Right, you said the other way around, but that's
Oh, okay. Yeah. No. I mean, obviously women are born. It's part of the
confusing stuff.
It's part of the female reproductive system. I actually Googled. I said, can men? What does that say? Are men born with cervixes? And it said, no, men are not usually born with a cervix, which is part. Yeah, I know. Woke Google's wild. Andres, could you bring up the next slide? Because here's woke Google. When I asked it, I said, do men have cervixes? Yes.
Oh my.
Some men can have a cervix, including some trans men and non-binary people. So woke Google and Google were giving me, they were like battling on this trans issue. One woke Google was giving me the answer, the politically correct answer. And then the other Google was giving me the factual answer. But the factual answer is no, men cannot have a cervix. The cervix is inside of the vagina. It acts as, and this is now even grosser, that nothing is grosser than hearing me describe it. I'm sure if you start talking about it, the guys on the chat will be like, hot. But when I start, it's like, ugh, weirdo.
Wait till they find out we have 3 holes.
Okay, that's more. See, I didn't even know that existed.
You didn't know that either? Oh my God.
See, we're learning a lot about the female anatomy. And let's be clear, we're not trying to be gross or titillating. We're trying to understand the female reproductive system because the Cancer Society of Canada is being a bunch of weirdos. And now we're trying to figure this out.
Yep.
I guess the cervix is a tube that's inside the vagina. It connects your uterus and your vagina. Right there. That's from the Cleveland Clinic. So I figured out what a cervix was. So I went back to the root problem, right? Trans women, people who were born biologically as a man and they have transitioned into a woman, they are not using this term cervix because they don't want to offend those people, but those people cannot have a cervix. You know why they can't have a cervix? Because they can't have a uterus. Andres, if you could pull up the Wikipedia article right there. There is no such thing as a uterus transplant. You can't do it. While sex reassignment surgery can create a vagina for these women, the option of a uterus is unavailable to them, meaning they cannot carry a pregnancy and would need to take other routes to parenthood. So they're apologizing for a body part to a group of people that they physically cannot have, they're not born with, and they can't get it implanted. Why? What is this? Is this just the bending of the knee to the gay pride movement?
Yeah.
I don't understand why they would issue this statement and apologize.
I
Humberto. Shane, go.
I just want to say real quick, Humberto and I have been talking a lot about libertarianism recently and how Humberto was a former libertarian and is slowly becoming based and red-pilled. And it's really a great example of why libertarianism ultimately fails, because the libertarian argument that we should just let people do whatever they want and respect people's differences doesn't really work, because when you start to normalize mental illness, the rest of society has to become mentally ill. So we begin to, as a collective, no longer be able to use words properly, and we have to start saying things like front hole because some of us are insane. And it's never just an isolated thing when, you have people deciding that they are women. It's never just going to be this thing that gets cordoned off and is allowed to persist without bothering anything else. The more that it is accepted and seen as legitimate, on a long enough time scale, everyone will have to lose their minds and begin talking nonsense. So, I mean, what do you think about that as a former libertarian, recovering libertarian?
A recovering libertarian. They don't let people have nice things. I think it's over. And this makes me mad. Because, okay, we can talk about the cervix and all the fun holes and make fun of whatever, apologize they do. But we're talking about a thing that actually kills women, and it kills a lot of women. 1 in 39 women will have breast cancer. It's one of the biggest killers. And these people, they get money to save women, and I think cervical cancer is like 40,000 deaths a year.
And men can also get cervical cancer because the human papilloma virus. I haven't done enough research to even speak on this, but from what I was researching, it was showing that men also are encouraged to get checked for cervical cancer because they can also suffer from it. So changing these terms to front hole takes away from people actually going and getting screened for this cervical cancer. Because if I hear, oh, go get screened for front hole cancer, nobody's going to know what that is.
Look,
but everybody knows what cervical cancer is.
I hate to bring George Orwell over and over again, but words are literally their website. Words are important. They are in a different plane of semantics. They have words that have intrinsic meaning, extrinsic meaning. Some words are for the initiated, some words are for the cult. And as a bigger point, like this is bigger than women, bigger than gays, bigger than wokeness, the level of selfishness that this shows to the world. Like, I bet there's a nice lady in Canada that has a few extra dollars that she can put into saving other women. And they're doing the people that donate the money at the service, they're doing the patients at the service, because these people are selfish beyond belief. They don't have the same intentions of society. They only care about the things they care about. They don't care about the cancer. They don't care about the women. They don't care about health. But anything that will, like offend them or like push their agenda forward. And I think this is disgusting. It's disgusting, and they should issue an apology on the apology, because it's a medical term. It's something they're fighting for. And anyone, if we have any Canadian viewers here, we haven't shooted away because we talk a lot of shit about Canada. If any Canadian viewers or American viewers that are donating to these people, you vote with your dollar. Just go to your bank account or whatever, wherever you sign in, and stop donating to these people, because they're not for women.
That's what's concerning for me, is the fact that this is a medical term and men cannot get cervical cancer.
Okay, then I guess DuckDuckGo steered me wrong.
HPV is a factor in women getting cervical cancer and can also cause cancer in men. But I'm the only one with the cervix. I'm the only one that can get cervical cancer. And it would be so confusing if we bow down to everyone. Oh, this word offends you. We need to change it. You're a doctor. Imagine trying to tell a doctor trying to explain something, and they learned it as cervical cancer, and now it's called front hole. And I'm a woman. Which hole? There's 3 of them. Like, what are you talking about? So it's concerning to me in that part of having an identity is being different and being okay with being different. I have a cervix. I can maybe get cervical cancer. Please, God, don't let me get that. But as a man, you can't. And I don't need to change that just so that you can possibly have what I have. We're not, what's that called? Socialism? We can't just all have everything. I'm a woman. I have certain features. You're a guy. You have certain features. And we're different. And if you think you're trans, and if you are a man that's a girl, cool. But you're still different than me. We're not the same, and that's okay. Being different is okay.
And Kelly's bringing a super valid and important point, because if we want to get gross and technicals, yes, women have 3 holes. They have the vaginal opening. That's where the cervix is.
Okay.
They have the anus, and they have the urethra. Okay. If you
like the way you said.
No, I'm
anus.
sorry.
No, it's okay. Anus.
But if you wanna get really technical about it,
Uh-huh.
usually the urethra that is right in the clitoris.
I have yet to find that spot, so that's probably why I didn't know that 3 holes existed.
Well, it is technically, if she's standing up, is more front than the other hole. So
She's usually tied down. My wife. It's consensual. It's consensual,
So,
right, Caitlin?
so they're doing they're doing a disservice to the medical community, to women, and they don't give a crap.
It feels like we've talked about that there is this attack on masculinity in this country, but it also seems like with this whole trans movement, there's also an attack on women, where they remove these terms, like instead of mother, you can call them now birthing persons, and you like letting men biologically born men dominate women's sports, letting biologically born men go into women's restrooms.
Well, that's
it's
the
like,
biggest cancer I see, Rob. The biggest cancer I see is this wokeness because, not only is this thing an outrage, but, we saw the other day that 3 teenagers got arrested for riding their scooters over the stupid pride flag that was painted on the ground in all these cities. They made a little skid mark on it. They got arrested, got a felony, and had a $15,000 bail. Whereas, we have protests going on where people are throwing bottles at police outside the White House. Then they're wearing terrorist attire, and they're not getting into any trouble.
That's so true.
And then we have
crazy.
robots waving flags. We have Tim Cook giving a speech in front of a pride flag. We have teachers with the pride stuff on. Like as far as the eye could see, pride flags everywhere. And Pat the other day was 100-something days out of the year that's like celebrating pride something. That's the cancer.
I have no problem with pride. If you're gay, if you're bi, if you're trans,
What
go
it's
be
become,
you.
though.
So here's the thing. We are not the same. And being inclusive means you're allowed to try to do whatever you want to do. I'm a female. Like, I can't be as physically strong as a man. I just can't. And that will never change. So I get being inclusive and allowing the opportunity to people. However, it's gone too far in terms of that I need to change so that you feel comfortable with your changes. That's not okay and never will be possible. So it's delusional to say that to be all inclusive, we need to generalize our experiences and erase our identities. Yeah. We are different, and that makes us special. We're different people. We should own that.
And think about how far it's come too. I mean, like I've always been on the side too of saying that gay people should be allowed to get married, but it was just 20 years ago that was illegal in 0 states get for gay marriage. But now here we are, we legalize in every state, and this is where we are in this short amount of time. It's gone this far, and like I thought conservatives were being dramatic when they said like it would get out of control and they would like try to indoctrinate the kids, but it turned out to be right.
I also believe that conservatives generalize the gay experience as well. So it's not, I have a lot of gay friends. I don't think it's necessarily fair to group everyone together.
No, there's two groups. Like I think normal gay and lesbian, traditional gay and lesbian people are very different from the very extreme people.
So in comedy, I work with a lot of people who are gay, both men and female. And the common theme that I see and I've talked about this on here before, but the common theme throughout their act that I see, and I've noticed, because they'll touch a bunch of different things, but they'll go to one central joke or premise that I've seen in every single person's set is, yes, I'm gay, but I'm not that LGBTQ plus AI gay. Yep. Like, yes, I'm gay and I have sex with a man. Okay, that's going to be clipped. Over and over again.
You heard it here first.
As soon as it left my mouth, I went, no, shit. But no, I mean, there are comedians who get up there and like, yes, I'm gay, and that's okay. But then there are the ones that are like, I just don't identify with any of this shit, and it actually hurts our movement and what we fought for to be able to be married and have health benefits and have the same benefits that a man and a woman have as a married couple. That's one thing. Yeah. But when I agree. When you start painting, like, I would love to know, what's that street that's painted as the pride flag? What is that painted the rest of the other 11 months? Is there an American flag there? Do they change it every month? Or is it only once a month where they paint these flags and then people act like dicks because you give them the opportunity to, and they do donuts or tire marks? I see it every time they paint one of these flags. And I go, okay, but what's there the rest of the 11 months? Is it a giant American flag? Because it fucking should be. Yeah. And if it's not, then why are we even dedicating this property or doing this other than to what? What is the entire purpose of painting the street the rainbow colors? Yeah. What does that accomplish?
But the thing is this. Okay, I'm so glad comedians are catching on to this, but this is not an original thought. There's countless books and documentation how the LGBTQ plus movement that comes from the queer movement, and you guys can go at home and read about Mary Bernstein, and her definition is for lesbians and gay movement. Then it's a cultural goals that include but are not limited to blah blah blah. So it's a cultural thing. Like, that's a Marxist collective. Yeah. Like, I will take a bullet for someone to be gay. because it's his right to be freaking gay, and if he wants to be gay and have 5 boyfriends and raise organic chickens in Ohio, like that, this is
very specific.
This is America, and
Yes.
and as long as there's no kids getting hurt and they want to live their thing like that, I think it's freedom of speech and freedom of act, and they can do that. But the other thing is this Marxist collective that it's taking over and it's turning into a religion. Like, I think everyone can live their life as long as they're 18 and they can consent. They can live their life however they want. And I'm an avid defender of everyone doing whatever the fuck they want. You know?
Pride is supposed to be about celebrating who you love, who you are as your own, and that we're different. Celebrating that we're different together, not that we're together and the same.
I'd like to end on this. This came out this week, and you had mentioned as long as they're 18, right?
Yeah.
So,
or whatever the law says.
yes. Well, this is very interesting. Is the tide, and we can discuss this on another episode because we got to move on, but is the tide on transgenderism turning? The American College of Pediatrics published a declaration using mainstream American medical associations like the American Academy of Pediatrics, urging them to abandon support for so-called gender-affirming care for transgender youth. According to the statement, as physicians, together with nurses, psychotherapists, and behavioral health clinicians, other health professionals, scientists, researchers, and public health and policy professionals, we have serious concerns about the physical and mental health effects of the current protocols promoted for the care of children and adolescents in the United States who express discomfort with their biological sex. So there's finally somebody speaking out and warning about the dangers of gender-affirming care for minors. So hopefully, maybe this weird, in-your-face, Pride Month, transgenderism, maybe the tide is slowly turning.